An investigation into the fatal explosion on board an asylum seeker boat has found it was deliberately lit. 5 Afghans died after last year's blast near Ashmore Reef. A coronial inquest has found there was a plot to sabotage the boat and that most of the 47 people on board knew about it. The coroner says he'll refer his findings to the police to see whether criminal charges could be laid against 3 of the asylum seekers. The Prime Minister is now under pressure to revoke their visas.
The Civ 36 was being held under the control of the Australian Navy when it exploded. Afghan passengers and sailors were blown into the water. The Navy rescued some of its own first and then the passengers. 5 Afghan men died and dozens more were injured. After a 3-week inquest, the Northern Territory Coroner Greg Kavanagh has found the explosion was caused when a passenger or passengers deliberately ignited petrol, and despite their denials in court, most of them knew of a plan to disable the boat and to start a fire. He found that the 2 Indonesian people smugglers in charge of the boat sabotaged the engine by pouring salt into it, and he named these 3 Afghan refugees in a plot to cripple the boat. Navy personnel wrestled a lighter off one of them minutes before the explosion. The coroner said the asylum seekers had colluded and lied about the incident, and there may well have been others in on the sabotage. He said the blast could have been prevented had the Navy secured unleaded petrol on board and confiscated lighters and matches. The coroner said the boarding party also issued an inappropriate notice telling the master to return to Indonesia. But he didn't criticise the Navy for rescuing their own first, saying their actions saved many lives. He also said, "I am of the belief that crimes may have been committed," and has referred his findings to the Northern Territory Police and the Director of Public Prosecutions. The findings sparked heated debate in federal Parliament.
Will the government now cancel the permanent protection visas granted last October to these 3 individuals under Section 501 of the Migration Act on grounds the Minister reasonably suspects that these persons do not pass the character test?
In terms of subsequent action, Mr Speaker, that should be considered on a case-by-case basis by the relevant minister.
Senator, what I said at estimates is if charges were laid and convictions were recorded, we would take action.
And that would leave the former asylum seekers' stay in Australia in doubt. Phoebe Stewart, ABC News, Darwin.